Hey everyone, welcome back to Poprageous here in Los Angeles. I'm Danny Alex. This is a spoiler-free review, and at the end, I'll give you my score out of 10, so check it out. The Fall Guy. It's a movie from director David Leitch, inspired by the 1980s TV show of the same name that starred Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, and 80s hottie Heather Thomas. I remember it well. I used to watch it all the time. The movie has Emily Blunt paired with Ryan Gosling. He's the hot actor in Hollywood right now after stealing the show as Ken and Barbie. David Leitch, well, he worked as a stuntman for many years before becoming a producer and a director, best known for directing Bullet Train and Deadpool 2, and producing the first John Wick, the best John Wick.
Go on.
Regardless of what you think about this flick, I predict that it will flop and lose Universal Pictures maybe even up to $200 million. That, to me, is the headline. And if you look underneath as to why, you'll find a movie that is basically half-baked all the way through. It doesn't do anything particularly well, except for a few action-packed scenes, making it entertaining, but still forgettable. Very forgettable.
Sorry, what was your name again?
This is another movie where the trailer was much better than the actual film itself. After watching the trailer, you got the impression that this was a tight, well put together movie with a clean storyline and subplots that probably will blend effortlessly all together, because the trailer made it feel that way. Instead, what you get is a movie that's all over the place, with a few action scenes and a couple of actors audiences generally like. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling came across as cute together, if I can say it that way. It felt as though they had chemistry, but this movie failed at creating a genuine feeling that these two people actually loved each other. Now, don't get me wrong, I was entertained, but there was nothing in this movie that really stuck with me to make it feel like I have to see it a second time. This movie needed to be 20 minutes shorter. The third act, it felt as though it went on endlessly and relied on over-the-top coincidences and conveniences to make the plot points work the way the writers needed them to work. The Fall Guy asks the audience to dumb itself down and just take what is happening and accept it. It's like the movie knows that the story it's trying to tell doesn't make much sense, but it insists that the audience follow along and not question what or why something happened, how someone survived an obvious fatal fall, how people show up conveniently when they need to, and on and on. A scene shows a character doing something in the evening, then they enter a building, and when they leave, ta-da, it's daytime.
Is it day or night?
I thought the karaoke scene was happening in the evening. Well, apparently it was in the middle of the day. I mean, who goes to karaoke in the afternoon? I've never even heard of that. You also have to buy into the fact that an international movie star is okay with killing people and somehow has a squad of guys with fully automatic weapons who are also willing to kill for him. Oh, actors and Mexican drug lords. Yeah, they're all the same, aren't they?
Say hello to my little friend!
The plot holes in this movie are endless, and you can make a 30-minute video just pointing out the mindless story holes that are in every scene in this movie. For all of those people who like this movie, hey, it was okay. It was mildly entertaining, okay? I'll give you that. But it wasn't a good movie. The script was terrible and everything felt forced and relied on the audience just going along and not questioning the ridiculous amount of coincidences for this movie to actually resolve itself. It's like when they had Tom Ryder's cell phone but needed the passcode. They go to his home and on the walls there are thousands of post-it notes everywhere. Really? And then they just happen to find the passcode to a cell phone on one of the post-it notes on the wall. Well, that was convenient. One of the most shaking my head scenes has to be when Ryan Gosling is tied to a chair as two thugs douse him with gasoline. Now, they want to burn him alive. But these two thugs are so courteous that they leave his hair alone. Seriously, they pour nothing over his head so that he can continue to look like Ken doll for the rest of the scene. And don't even get me started on the final scene with the helicopter and the massive airbag that somehow fills itself up in a matter of seconds. The Fall Guy is a sloppy mess of a movie that has a terrible script and is only kept afloat and made entertaining because of a few over-the-top action and stunt scenes and because its two lead actors are both likable and seem to work well together. There were some comedic moments that landed and Ryan Gosling added his Ken doll charm, but really that's about all. Overall, this movie is forgettable, and very few people will feel the need to watch it a second time. The real bad news for this movie is that it had a budget of 130 million. Add the marketing and promotion and you have 200 million, which means it needs a box office of 400 million to break even. This movie is going to be a massive flop and lose a ton of money for Universal Pictures. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving The Fall Guy a 6.0. It's an entertaining bad movie made palatable by its two lead actors. The script is a sloppy mess that has a bunch of story ideas that are forced together, relying on the audience to dumb itself down if they're going to believe the ridiculous and convenience-riddled story that David Leitch is trying to tell. That's all I have to say about this. Hit subscribe if you want to hang out some more, and I will see you in our next video. Cheers.